40 years or 20 years or 10 or 5 don't want to come in at the new terms, then I pass.
So is it an opportunity for young bands then? You know, because the agents insist on whatever guarantees they got 2 years ago.
I've done more percentages at the door after my direct show costs than I have guarantees in the last 2 years.
I've certainly felt that at the Lizard, and I think because on, again, that side of the river, there's been a plethora of free, no-cover rooms that have opened in the last couple of years. So where I'm trying to run this with a cover, it's been harder and harder. And to me, it's like if all the local bands are spreading out into the rooms that don't charge a cover, the onus on me now is to just raise the national acts, get more of it, to try to maintain that level.
Is it the same for you guys? Have you gone more local or more national with the economy?
I think with us in New York, it hasn't stopped the amount of bands that are popping up every day. It's it's fluctuated. Yeah, I mean,
but you're doing more free shows, though, right?
Touring goes, it's like there's enough bands in New York that it hasn't really affected the amount of we haven't felt the touring slow down as much, but it fluctuates, and people still drink PBR, I guess. Or they're bringing flasks, but they're still coming. But we cut out guarantees as well.
I think at the club you just got to be creative, make it affordable. People still want to go out, like you said. Times are tough. They want to go out and listen to music and forget about their worries. That's kind of what it's all about. As a club, we need to design that in a, affordable way, but also as a band, probably not going to make much money being in a band. Anyways, most bands. I'm in a band. I know that, but it's like just do it for the right reasons and work with the club to just to work really hard.
And advance your shows, please. On behalf of production.
Advance your shows, but I think I like what you said before about an event. Like even if you book a residency, it should feel like an event.
Yes.
And that if you can convey that to me, like, oh my God, this is going to be unbelievable. We've got this night. Make it seem special. That goes a long way with me.
Yeah. Yes. Me too. Yep.
We're going to do like pitching a club. You can really detail how you're going to promote this show. And even sometimes people joke, like we'll get bands and then they'll be calling the club every day about promoting or posters, this and that. And some people will be like, isn't that person annoying? I'm like, as long as they're doing that to promote their show, I think that's great. It shows they really care and it's on their mind every day to get people out to the show.
Make a flyer.
What's amazing to me actually is how many of you guys are in bands. People tend to think of promoters as this behind the curtain master puppet kind of thing.
That's what I am.
I know Anya is a master of puppets.
I am not in a band.
Jackie, were you ever in a band?
I play the tambourine.
Okay.
Oh, laugh if you will, but you should see me play the tambourine. It's an instrument.
Anya, were you in a band?
I'm a dancer.
Okay.
So
I know Billy's in a band.
Yeah, I was in a band called Other Passengers, and I'm in a band called New Moods. You should tweet about it right now.
There, I can do it.
Yeah, somebody's on the internet. Tweet it.
Nate, you're in a band, a pretty active band too.
Yeah, I'm in a band called the Las Vegas. Played everything and got our start playing garages to, I'm fortunate to play a couple big places like arenas. And so the ups and downs of being in a band, and it's been a lot of hard work to wake up every day to being like, what can I do for my band? Mm-hmm. It's like, man, it's an incredible amount of work, but it's fun work. You got to believe in what you're doing.
That's another thing. Is like from our perspective, probably too. It's like the thing we notice most about when bands email us or write us. It's like the energy they put in, like the work. You can see the work, and it's like I know how much work that was, and it was exhausting and really hard. And I didn't, putting good work into it is what we noticed.
Yeah. And Nate's band opened for Motley Crue. That's awesome. What, last year was it?
Yep.
40 days.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly.
We heard a lot of that.
That was a great sound.
You're in a band too?
I'm in a bunch of bands and have played.
Name them, Billy. Name them.
Oh, God. Well, right now, a band called Session Americana. I play with Jimmy Ryan and Hayride. I play with a band called the Dangerous Brothers. I play with Ann Heaton, Rose Polenzani and Sub Rosa. And in the past, nationally, have toured with Melissa Farrick, with Patty Griffin, Kim Ritchie. I played with Morphine. I played a bunch of bands with Mark in the beginning. Way back into the 80s, I was in a band called Face to Face. It was on a major label here.
Very cool, man.
So
That's
it's been a
good.
long career.
Yeah.
And with Patty opening for the Dixie Chicks when they were playing the big arenas for the better part of a year and a half. So I've sort of seen that side of it from giant arenas to little tiny clubs.
Cool. Okay, folks, time for some questions. Yes.
Hi, my name is Lauren Flaherty, and I'm a singer-songwriter, and Rasputin is actually my favorite band ever. So I was just wondering if you could tell any stories about working with them, or that, or
I wish I
things
could
that-
say it was dramatic.
Yeah.
And, there was like all sorts of crazy things going on, but no, I mean, they were wonderful to work with. And I really feel that I took them at a time when, sort of people weren't talking about them as much, like they kind of came onto the scene, they were signed by Columbia. And then, sort of their draw and, the hype about them sort of faded a little, and I took them and I really sold that band. And I feel like I really developed them and got them back to where, they are now. So
Have they changed personnel a bunch of times?
yes.
Yeah. Is anybody from the original band still in this band?
Well, now I have been out of touch with
Yeah.
them. I haven't been working with them for about
Do you know?
4 or 5 years.
It's just Melora now.
Just Melora?
Yeah.
Well, definitely I know that the drummer that was working with her is no longer with her. And
Yeah.
when I was, Zoe was with her back then, and Jonathan.
I saw them at some of those shows. They were very nice shows.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, I just put my heart and soul into working with them because I love them. Yeah.
Yes.
So, coming from a local band, I think once you're networking everything within the Boston scene, like through either, having band members playing other bands or just going out to shows and knowing people, that's easier. That's true. Once you're the local band that's going out to New York or going to Ann Arbor, I mean, you only have so many friends and family out of state, and you really, I'm a pretty honest person, and I don't want to mislead you guys with my draw as a band, but at the same time, do you guys ever think about maybe trying to, a couple times a week, put out-of-town bands on the bill with local bands that are going to draw well, or, and I know you guys want the honesty, but at the end of the day, how much does it really pay to be honest, and what's your chances of getting booked?
You're not going to get booked again if you're not honest. That's the thing.
Yeah, and it's like if you're, I feel like if we really like your band, we're going to book you.
Yeah.
I keep talking about the money thing, and if you tell us, all right, hey, we don't really draw that well, but we want to work really hard, that means that I'm going to put you like in the middle of a local bill. I'm not going to have you headline because you're like, oh, I'm going to sell your place out. I have you headline, and then you play in front of 20 people. But if I know that we need to build you, there's a way to do that. And I think too, it's also effective. I just find if you want to try to get in other cities, like try to find other bands in those cities and be like, hey, we do really well in Boston. We want to help you out. We'll put you on a show in Boston, put us on a show in New York, like trade shows with bands, and then when that band that does well in New York, they can just tell the promoter we want to bring a band and we draw well enough to be able to do that, and that's a pretty effective way I think to get out versus just emailing the club.
Yeah.
I have a very recent example. This past week, I had Jeremy Messersmith, who's from Minneapolis, and Kaiser Cartel supporting, who's from New York, and Vikesh Kapoor, who just won Folk Artist of the Year on the Boston Phoenix, the award thing that they do. He was voted. They want to build together. You're coming from 3 different places, but I was smitten with each of them. So like Nate was saying, I built that build. That's what I get off on, just so you know. Myself, Sean, Nick, who's also here, the 3 students that help book. I like putting pieces together and making new friends out of things. That's my favorite thing to do. I like putting this one with this one with this one if I can, and having this kismet of a night. And so it happens.
They played here on Monday. Jeremy and Kaiser Cartel. That's just the 2.
They're awesome.
So, yeah.
Hey, my name is Mr. Harvey. I'm a rap artist and a songwriter. I'm hearing a lot about bands.